In this video, I'm going to show you how to draft a lawsuit with AI.Law. It's rather straightforward. There are 5 steps. The most important one, the meatiest here, is step 1, which is uploading the allegations of the complaint. So as it indicates, upload the background, history, and lawsuit allegations in an organized Word document, such as a narrative format, in blocks of text. You may also include text from multiple letters or other relevant documents, and you simply upload that file. So let me show you what one looks like. This is a situation where we've created this fake conflict between XYZ Development Corporation, a corporation who bought a parcel of land from ABC Holdings. There were some representations made at the point of the sale, including that there was a dry cleaning business on the land prior, and that an environmental test 1 could be completed. But lo and behold, a year later, the buyer finds out, XYZ Development learned, that the seller had added about 3 feet of new topsoil across the entire site, which effectively hid the major chemical cleanup that was necessary that it knew about, and is expecting to cost the buyer now $25 million. So there's a dispute about this. This is plain Englishly written. I don't think that's a word, but this is written in plain English. There's no legalese in here. You're just describing exactly what happened with the level of detail that allows an individual to have a really good understanding of what happened. If you have a chronology involved, time frames, you can add those in here as well. You can do bullet points or write them out as a narrative, doesn't matter. Whatever you want to add in here, or whatever you would normally include within a lawsuit factually, is what you're going to want to include here, right? So when AI drafts a lawsuit, it's not going to make facts up. It's going to use the facts that you have, that you present to it, in such a manner that makes sense legally. That is with each claim, you have elements, and each element needs to be pled. AI is going to take care of all that for you. You just have to lay it all out. The next thing we have after this narrative, you can have anything you like in here. You can be letters back and forth, you copy and paste. You can have emails, client notes, intake notes, whatever the universe of information you have, you can include in this document. In this case, we copied and pasted over a contract, the actual contract that the parties used to sell the property. This is multiple pages. There's a lot of detail in here, and that's perfectly fine. AI is going to figure it all out. You can give it just about as much information as you have, and it's going to figure it out. At this point, you're going to want to include all this information within one Word document, so you can't upload 1,500 different pages and AI is going to read them all for you. Instead, you are going to have to present it in such a way that it's in one Word file. Once you have your Word file, you just drag and drop, or you can upload it here. I'm just going to drag it over and drop it in. That's all there is to uploading the allegations. It'll take a moment here for AI to read it, very quick, and then it will be ready for you to move to the next step, which is going to be figuring out your causes of action. This is really neat because causes of action, see, a couple seconds, causes of action are things that you can think of off the top of your head: breach of contract, fraud, whatnot. All you have to do is state exactly what the cause of action is. What we're going to do, the next question then, is the jurisdiction. Let's say we're the Northern District of Illinois Federal Court. Abbreviation's fine. It's going to, by your jurisdiction, understand where we're going to be pulling elements from for your causes of action. Now, we have breach of contract here, but let's say you're not quite sure what's possible, or you want to get a better sense. You want to throw the book at them. You can click Get Ideas. It's going to open a new tab. This is our Identify Claims and Boost Damages functionality, where then you can say the state, the number of questions to generate. These are questions that will be tacked on at the end that you can ask your client to boost damages or increase claims. The key thing here is your client's fact pattern. Now, this can be very short. This could be dog bites mailman short, or what you can do is you go back to your narrative, which is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to copy the narrative. We don't need all the nit and gritty for this purposes, the contract. We can just deal with the narrative for it because it summarizes everything nicely. You just copy and then you paste it in here, you submit issue. And what our system's going to do is look at this factual situation and identify federal, state, and regulatory causes of action that might be available to your client. And then you're going to take a moment to read through it and pick the ones that sound good to you or that you'd like to litigate out. You're not necessarily going to pick them all unless you really want to, but you can certainly get some good ideas from it. And here we go. Unsurprisingly, state causes of action: fraud, negligent misrepresentation, breach of contract. Then we have some Illinois regulations. It might be interesting to see what kind of private right of action might be available for that. And then you have got your federal ones: CERCLA, I didn't even know this existed, Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation Liability Act is available for you. And then we can pull those over, show you what that looks like. At the end, these are our questions, follow-up questions: prior knowledge. Did ABC Holdings have knowledge reports, internal documents indicated presence of contamination before added the new topsoil? These are things that you can ask the client to, again, boost damages or develop your case more or add particular claims. We automatically add those in for you. There are 5 here because we requested 5 be run. Once you have an idea of which claims you want, you go back to where we were with the causes of action, that second tab. And we're going to add this in. We'll say fraud, and we'll call CERCLA, C-R-C-L-A. I think that was it. C-R-C-L-A, CERCLA. Let's make sure. Get this right. Yeah, C-R-C-L-A. And click continue. The next are really short, sweet, easy. You're going to add the plaintiff's name and address. This is actually just so so our system will create a document that is pre-formatted for you with the plaintiff's names and information. You don't actually have to include it if you don't want to, but we do find it's helpful, so we can do like this. Call this Ohio, whatever. Add plaintiff. You have multiple plaintiffs. You can add them, or delete them off, and then continue. Similarly with defendant, if you multiply defendants, you can add defendant. Defendant's name here is ABC Holding Company, and let's call this Main Street, Chicago, Illinois, and I don't even know what the zip code is. We'll leave that blank. Click continue. Lastly, relief sought. This does not, again, have to be anything out of the ordinary or crazy. We're going to already add in a good deal of requests that cover a lot for you. If there's something in particular that you'd like to ask for, you can indicate it here. $25 million in remediation costs. Then you click continue. That's it. This is all the information that you need in order to draft an entire lawsuit. You click draft a complaint, or generate document rather. I'm going to give you an idea of how long this takes to run. It's going to read through the facts. It's going to find your causes of action in your jurisdiction. It will identify the elements associated with each count, with each claim that you have. For example, breach of contract is a contract exists. One of the parties breached, the other one wasn't in breach, and there was damages. Our system will give you a little bit deeper than that, and I'll show you that here in a moment. But those are particular things that you need to prove or plead in order to establish a breach of contract action. Our system's going to recognize what those elements are. We're going to add them in, and it's going to save you the time and energy of going down a rabbit hole on research to figure out causes of action and particular necessary pleading standards for each one. As long as there's enough information within the system, you'll get nice, robust factual allegations for each individual one. You'll also get a general allegations section, which will run through the background. We like to include that in if we have multiple claims. Here we go, 1 minute and 7 seconds. We like to include general allegations in this section. I'll show you why here. Because it covers most of the information that you're going to need. Enable editing. I have a little disclosure that basically says this is going to be in a format that is mostly used within the federal court system. We're not going to number our individual paragraphs because you can't. So it enables you to copy and paste into the format that your court is going to prefer, like if it, pleading paper with numbers down the side, what have you. We find it's easy if you just add your numbers yourself. But that said, delete this out. Do not file this statement with the court. So let's delete that out. And then we have our lawsuit, right? This is Northern District of Illinois, as we specified. Here's our parties: plaintiff, defendant. Jury demand, you're always going to include that. Complaint for damages and for declaratory relief. And here's our breach of contract, fraud, and CERCLA. The introduction statement, this is designed to be persuasively written for you in a way that's a theme that you can use throughout the litigation. This is based on what our firm developed over several years as far as being a good way to present facts as an introductory statement. So you get that. You'll get your jurisdictional allegations. Here in federal court, you're going to get 1331 and diversity here, personal jurisdiction. And then also you'll get the parties, organized, existing, and assimilate. It's going to recognize and assume, because we have this party in the Illinois address, it's going to understand that we're in Illinois for that. General allegations, again, this is our general background that we have. I like to include these as sort of a brief, specific overview before you get into the individual claims. Here we've got an incorporation statement, as you'd expect, and then you have the elements pled in factual format. So plaintiff and defendant entered a legally binding contract. That's a cause of an element, breach of contract, for breach of contract. And then we're going to get in some statements, some representation warranties based on this information, and then contrary representations made, discovered issue, there's a failure to disclose, and this constitutes a material breach of contract. Due to the breach, suffered damages, and seeks relief. Those are everything you need for breach of contract. Similarly, fraud, here's false representation, known to be false at the time it was made, intention. You've got all your individual allegations laid out with facts specific to what we uploaded. And finally, the CERCLA, you can just get the same kind of situation here where it's adding in the facts associated, or the facts to match the elements. We find that this is this particular process for our AI is highly accurate, in the 90s, high 90%, but you would always want to read it before you file it, just to make sure that everything is exactly the way you'd like it to, especially if you have some particular statutory scheme. It's always helpful to read it before you file it. But lastly, then you have your demand at the end, your jury demand, and then signature section prompting you to send this or include that. So here we have a 3-count, well-drafted complaint, 7 pages long, that was completed for us in about 1 minute and 8 seconds long. Huge, huge help for you. You don't have to think about how to go through each individual allegation. Our AI handles it all for you. So here's our complaint. I will actually save this here. And once you have the complaint done, you can review it as that Word document as we just saw, and then file it with the court. That is how to draft a lawsuit. If you, next phase that we would generally recommend you do is you can analyze the lawsuit under answer a lawsuit, and we'll cover that in another video.